Wow, Neil Armstrong. Hey, wait a minute. You're supposed to be on the moon. I just saw it on TV.
Oh, there's a tape delay and with all solar winds.
Nobody that I know of in my field uses the so-called scientific method. In our field, it's by the seat of your pants. It's leaps of logic. It's guesswork.
Don't see the curvature of the earth. That stuff is what?
GLOBEBUSTERS taking up. Bye-bye, moon man and rubber. NASA so mediocre. Sorry, but your ball is dead. But your ball is GLOBEBUSTERs taking up. Gotta ride this roller coaster. But the truth is getting closer. Sorry, but your ball is dead. But your ball is. Get the shovel for the spice of a piecing up the puzzle. Need to burst your bubble. Evil gonna crumble, yeah? Sit down and be humble. Got the ball, you gotta fumble. You'll get mad cause at this fight I involved your uncle.
And then they call me the liar. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable the pathetic techniques that they have to use to prove their heliocentric model.
Bob said the president, Jan got the evidence. Eros laying desert wizards, that shark is evident. That the earth electric and it's resonant. Your residence is heavens, and I hope to settle in like some sediment. If we so wrong, why they lying to discredit it? That's not too intelligent. That's a guy, not an in court, but we ain't really in the settlement. It's time to awaken from the pseudoscience sedatives.
GLOBEBUSTERs taking up. Bye-bye, moon man and rubber. NASA so mediocre. Sorry, but your ball is dead. But your ball is GLOBEBUSTERs taking up. Gotta ride this roller coaster. But the truth is getting closer. Sorry, but your ball is dead. But your ball is
Inner World Productions.
We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented. It's as simple as that.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of GLOBEBUSTERS Tech. I'm your host, Zach. Good times for all, and today we're going to be taking a look at the sound of music. Now we're going to look at some music, but it's going to be a different type of music. This is, the voice of the creator. We're going to be looking at these frequencies.
We're not talking about the movie here, right?
No, definitely not about the Sound of Music, the movie. If you're looking for the Sound of Music, the movie, please turn it off now. This is not going to have too much to do with that at all. But yes, there's a really awesome video Cami found about a gentleman who was, I believe, one of the first to discover these cymatic patterns and things like that, or did a lot of the first research with it. And he talks about, in the beginning there was the word. And I got to tell you, I've been playing around with some of these chladni, I think it's pronounced. I could be really messing that up bad. CHLADNI plates. And we're going to show you what they are and what they do, but it's almost like you can build mountains with these things. You can see just how easily, the creator didn't have to go out there and use his, physical form and, move dirt around. Just with the sound of his voice, could move mountains and raise them and do whatever he wanted. And quickly. Yeah, it's really just amazing. I've been wanting to do this a lot, really get into frequencies, and I've done a lot of research on it, and now is playtime, which is just my favorite time. You get a couple toys that have to do with whatever topic you're studying, and now you get to play with the toys. And I've learned that when you treat them as if you're a child and you're not really just trying to make the patterns, or do things like you see in the book, but you actually play with it, that's where discovery comes from. And that's where that understanding comes from.
I think that was a quote from Tesla. If you want to understand the mysteries of the universe, study frequency or something like that. I wish I had it all memorized. But
Yeah.
Everything is think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration.
That's the quote. Yeah.
Yeah. But before we do that, we're going to introduce the panel, and we will start off with Mr. Kyle Adams. Kyle, how are you doing this week, sir?
Well, I'm kind of disappointed because I was getting ready to take my whole St. George Flat Earth group out to the theater to go see Fly Me to the Moon, and then all of a sudden I heard the reviews and it's all pro moon landing. I'm like, Jaron called it. He called it for sure. I'm like, so disappointed with that. But other than that, I've been having a lot of fun looking into Gleason's book. Is the Bible from heaven? Is the earth a globe? And I've been doing a really deep dive on that one. Just I wasn't expecting to get this deep on that. And just when it comes to just extrapolating, because there's a lot to it. It's like the whole book itself is over 400 pages. And but yeah, I'm also collecting commentary. So if anyone out there is big Bible fanatics wants to get in there, I really want to hear what you have to say on that. Right now, just in chapter 1, there's a lot of conversation about King Nebuchadnezzar's vision with the statue, and I think that's pretty fascinating. And I was looking into anything that Rob Skiba had to say on it, but he never touched the Book of Daniel, as far as I'm aware of. Some people say it's like not part of Torah, and so I'm kind of interested in kind of learning more about why and different things like that. And I don't know. There's I really enjoy hearing the outside perspectives.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, I can't wait to see what you come up with there, man.
It's been fun.
And I got your video out this morning. I know you put a lot of time and effort into that.
Oh man, it's a beast. So yeah, there's a lot of video editing that goes into it, and I'm trying to integrate some of the interviews I've done in the past into them going forward. And so
excellent. And next up, we have Mrs. Cammie Nodell. Cammie, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm a little bit flustered after the technical difficulties getting on, but getting over it now. And I was just thinking I should have the really pretty arrangement of flowers behind me. Yesterday was my birthday. I turned 60, which is a big one. Had a really, really, really lovely day. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Sharon. We really enjoyed the day, and that's what was really special. And I was thinking at some point I might sneak and leave the flowers behind me. Hans Jenny is who discovered cymatics, supposedly discovered or noticed or made famous and wrote papers about. This is, I believe, a minister covering it. And I stopped and did these videos on the cymatics because Zach, who was sounding just like you in the garage, like, ooh, look, the mountains are, you can see mountains and you can see continents making, and you can see, and this is, again,
I was watching it a little bit earlier after you showed it to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, people are going to think that I saw this and then made that video, because it does. It sounds like I was almost copying him exactly how he's saying it. It's crazy.
And that is why I pulled this out. I will disagree with some of the things that he says in his video while covering it, but Hans Jenny, he does a really good job covering Hans Jenny's work. And Hans Jenny was, again, who did all of the noticing and all the science. He passed away, I believe, in 1972 or in the early 70s. But that was his life, was writing about cymatics and documenting the science to the music. And people really understand a lot that we covered last week with the resonance, and that it's going to be the same with your nodes and your anti-nodes, Cal showing up, where your areas that have a lot of material on them is where they're very still, and where they're clean is where it's vibrating. And so you have your areas of high and low pressure and not doing it. Fascinating stuff you get down to. In the beginning was the word. What they will say in this video and what people will say, and every time I hear like anybody taking the one thing, this is where to me we'll get it, is like this person will say that there's sound and everything is created through sound. I truly believe that any time that we try to do that, we whereas the electricity and the sound make it, we know that sound can make light, but can sound produce electricity, or can electricity produce sound? Again, you get into the different things going back and forth. I always believe it's a combination of things working together. So I think that's an important thing, because I think the G is the gamut, the entire spectrum, everything from the transcendental sound waves into the entire electromagnetic, all of your longitudinal waves, and that join your transverse and longitudinal starting and going the entire way through. So I think that's, again, a really fun concept, but I think this is reality, how it began and how it did. And then again, when you look at this human frequency and that running all of the time, and you look at earthquakes and you look at earth movements, that it all makes sense the way it works.
Yeah. I have to get back to doing a little bit more research about the Schumann resonance. It's been a little while since I did that research. And then I started researching cymatics and stuff. But I was playing around, and it's really neat because I can put sand all over the plate. And at 35 hertz, you can see the plate wobbling, right? But it's not creating any nodes or anodes. There is no movement of the sand, no matter where I put it on the plate. And that's like, I think, the last frequency of the Schumann resonance, because it's not just 7.83 hertz. It starts at 3 something, I believe, and goes up to 30 something. And I think it's 35. And it's crazy because once you turn it up to 37, the sand starts jumping around and moving all over the place like crazy, just from that couple cycles right there. So it's once you hit those, that resonant frequency, that's when you get your nodes and anodes, and we're going to cover that because I see you're already having questions, Kyle. I can see it in your brain.
I'm just thinking about how, like, when you harmonize your voice with someone else's, all of a sudden there's this moment where you can just feel it. Like there's like a tremor in the room or something like that. It's like, whoa, what was that? And
Yeah.
when you're just trying to match that pitch perfectly. And yeah, there's just something unique about that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also thinking a lot about how when it comes to studying vibration and sound, I think a lot about how frequently people look into this kind of stuff when it comes to like levitation or kind of changing an object's weight or sound. And that's been a huge topic right there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they I know Ed Leedscallion, the guy who built Coral Castle in Florida by himself, allegedly. Amazing feat. He said it was to do with magnetism and frequencies and things like that. He could get things to levitate, big, huge things. So, yeah, I still haven't seen it, put down and told what frequency for what material to levitate this much weight. I haven't. That's what I'd like
there's
to
still
see.
so much
All that.
that's just pure speculation
a lot,
on that.
Yeah, a lot to learn, a lot
But
to play with.
You gotta acknowledge the observation of, like, people have done it, like small things. I've never seen it on big things, but I've seen it with small things, and that's something.
Yeah, well, we're going to show you here that you can move things just with sound. And it's not like a huge amount of sound. It's with a little JBL speaker that I have that, yeah, it's just real neat. It's amazing. But before we do, we're going to get to our last panel member, Miss Karen B. Karen, how are you doing this week? How is it going?
It's going good. Going good. Happy to be here. This is right up my alley.
Mm-hmm.
All the sound and frequency and vibration. I love all this stuff, and it has very much to do with crystals and how crystals are formed. And when you look at, the geology of Earth zoomed out from high altitude pictures, you see a lot of the similar sort of things, shapes and sort of features forming that you see when you play with your cymatic plate, which is why, I think it's like, it's sort of a natural reaction to look at that and say, oh, look at this, looks like mountains and valleys and Stuff forming. That's so interesting because that's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. I
That's
was just
exactly what it
mesmerized the
is.
other day.
Yeah.
And Cammy pulled out the her camera and just started recording me because I was just sitting there talking to her about what I was seeing. She's like, I want to record this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so much fun. And this one was easy. Speaker, a little half cylinder of plastic. You could use a little egg even, like the top half of a plastic egg. And you just put it on the speaker, hot glue it down. You drill a hole through the center and get a screw going through that or a bolt, and then put some nuts on it and put a little plate and put it down on top. And that's it. It's really simple to do. And then I just use a frequency generator on my phone, an app that I got, and I get it to do all kinds of crazy stuff now. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm
Sounds like
thinking
a
of,
cool app.
yeah, there's hundreds of them out there. Yeah, just a frequency generator. You just type it into the store, the Play Store or the Apple Store, whatever, and it'll yeah. So how is Flattoberfest coming along?
It's coming along good. It's coming along good. I have to update the website. I have to start adding to the list. Witsit Gets It is going to be there. David Beverly of Jesus Freak Computer Geek.
Nice.
Rick Hummer, Ben Balderson, you and Cammy with How the World Works exhibit. That's going to be a big deal again this year because it's growing. It's going to have more, cooler, much cooler things. It's and if it wasn't cool enough already, you guys are going to have like the best exhibit ever.
Yeah,
So,
being able to do it outside and play with fire and make,
yeah,
noise with my speaker and not, mess with anybody else.
right. And
I'm going to be able to show
yeah.
things I've never been able to show before.
In
So
your
yeah.
own area where people will be able to devote attention to you, and it will be totally separate from the main stage area, so
Well, let's
that's
take
going
a
to be great.
look at the venue. This is the Music Cat venue, and Karen, Cammy, and I went. What was that? Last week, Thursday,
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
believe.
we could go today. Yeah.
Yeah, we went out there and got all kinds of video, and she put together the first one, because she's going to be adding more people and all kinds of stuff like that. So there's going to be more. But yeah, it's some really awesome drone footage and some pictures and
Well, this is
all kinds of neat
it's
stuff.
just a venue tour. It doesn't have the list of speakers yet. Which I'm working on now. I'm working on the edit that has more information about who's going to be there and whatnot and everything,
Yeah,
more informational. This is just the venue.
just the venue, just to show you guys what we were, trying to explain before. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
let's check it out. I can't wait.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's an awesome spot. The owners and people there are really cool. So this is going to be a fun one for sure. All right, so Chladni Plate. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. You guys see it there. Let's make
Chladni.
Chladni. Could be, yeah.
Chladni. I don't know.
It consists of a flat sheet of metal. I've seen other things used as well. Cammy, what were you saying people were using? Was it acrylic?
There are definitely a lot of people making it with acrylic, and they were looking at it from like 3D from underneath and that. But yeah, they were doing thin acrylic ones or metal ones, aluminum, steel, all kinds of different ones. So it does not have to be, and they do them in different shapes too. And the shapes and the material that you put, the shape of the material, and again, what you use will also determine like the shapes and that on it. Like things will change. It all works together in harmony. So it's not that this frequency is always going to get this exact pattern on every medium or that. In other words, everything is working together as in tandem with it. So you'll find your frequencies maybe a little bit differently on different mediums or different shapes, or again, they'll look a little bit different.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it says when the plate is oscillating in a particular mode of vibration. So you can't see it, but at the center point right here, there's a little hole and there'll be a little bolt sticking up. And you set your plate, the hole of the plate on that, and then you screw it down to tighten it. So the nodes and antinodes that are set up form complex but symmetrical patterns over its surface. And that's what these are they're talking about. The
So
positions.
those shapes in the light, those are the nodes and antinodes?
Yeah, it's coming up to that here in a second. The position of these nodes and antinodes can be seen by sprinkling sand upon the plates. The sand will vibrate away from the antinodes. So these are your antinodes right here, and gather at the nodes.
High pressure, Kyle. Again, where your highest pressure is where there's nothing here. And your highest, again, and then it's going to gather and be flat. So it's going to be almost opposite of the way that you see the fire. The fire, you see the higher pressure as flame, and here you see it as the blank spots.
So what it's doing, it's creating a pattern in the actual sheet of metal because it's vibrating at a certain frequency, which is causing the metal to bend in a certain way. So when you look right here, the most vibration is happening right here. So consider these like your peaks. It's being bent up and down like this, right? The plate is. But the part where it's not is right here. That's where it's nice and calm. So when the sand hits those nodes, as they call them, then it stops moving because there's no more vibration at the node. It's the antinode that is moving up and down like this. And
does this have like any kind of similarity between like lunar nodes, or completely different topics?
No, different. No, yeah, you can't mix your sciences. You can't mix any type. Yeah, they've decompartmentalized us so much that when you go from one branch of physics to another, exactly, and it'll mean something totally different in all the different branches usually.
Kyle, if you go into biology and medicine, you're going to find your nodes are going to be cancerous nodes, nodules and that. So,
oh, I didn't even think about that one. You're right.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's why people. That's one of the reasons why they tell people, it's a specific field that you're in, and you stay in your field, and blah blah. It's because
they try to make it as complicated as possible, and
then they
try to make it confusing.
Exactly.
They make the language different with the same word. You're both specialists. You both know this word inside out, but it means something totally different to you guys because you were taught that it's something different. Yeah. It's so messed up. But yeah,
a node on a plant is completely different than a node on a battery, and And a
So
node in the
here,
sky concerning the moon is completely different than the
yes.
plant, the battery, and and now there's
So
this, and this is a totally different kind of node. And now my
when
brain's
it comes to cymatics, now this has to do with all cymatics. Your node is the spot, like when you see the two frequency patterns, you know how they'll show that, the magnetic wave and the electric wave in the frequency, and they're crisscrossing. The node is where they cross. There's no disturbance there. But the antinode is where they're like peaked. So it bows out. That's the same thing you're seeing here. So right here is where there's a lot of vibration. It's probably vibrating right down this line and making the plate bend just a little bit like this, and it's going up and down. It's going like this.
Okay, so there's the peaks where there's a lot of vibration, and then there's the troughs where there's like.
And those are
very
your
little
nodes. Yeah, those
vibration.
are your nodes. Nodes are no movement.
Yeah. In
Oh,
physics,
Wave.
okay, yeah, that's like tidal nodes. Yep.
Yeah. in
There
you
in
go.
physics, in physics,
Kind of
Kyle,
node.
yeah, in physics, your node is your minimum. Its minimum amplitude is the word instead of vibration. They just use amplitude, and that's your exact definition.
Okay, that's why there's a connection here between this and tides, maybe.
Right.
So,
So they're
yeah.
using the classic. A node is a point along the standing wave where the wave is minimum amplitude. For instance, and they'll give you the vibrating guitar string, and so again, it all carries on.
Yeah. For everyone else about tidal nodes, it's a really significant concept that you really have to make sure you add to your repertoire when it comes to understanding the flat Earth, because it's a really big deal that tides are not the same everywhere. There are some places have really high tides and low tides, and then there are other places that have no tide at all. And you've really got to take a good look at Australia and how the tide is so different along the coastline of Australia. Part of it is like huge tides, and then the other part of it is like no tide. So yeah, big deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Same kind of thing though. So your antinode will always be the spot of the most disturbance. Think of it like they're showing it. It's a flat sheet of metal, but it's creating these vibrations, these wobbles in it. And when they're at that right frequency and it resonates just right, it's going to create these things to where you're going to have these spots of node, a line of a node right here that will draw the pattern for you. Wherever the sand you see is, that's where the plate is resting.
Oh, my mind is just going crazy now because I'm thinking about, like, you know, there's these tidal nodes, and I'm suddenly thinking about earthquakes and wondering if there's like nodes and earthquakes where it
Yeah,
comes
absolutely.
to
Have you ever seen the concrete make it look like it's water and it starts waving? The concrete will?
No.
Oh, you have to go watch earthquake
Mhm.
videos then. Go watch a bunch of earthquake videos. Just
Yep.
concrete
Concrete
waving.
just looks like water, and yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
it looks like it's a liquid. It's wild.
cool. I'll have to
Mhm.
check that out.
So we're going to play at least the beginning part of this. I recommend, if you like this kind of stuff, go find all this gentleman's videos. His name's Swiss scientist Dr. Hans Jenny. It's a 3-part set. And this gentleman, YouTube creator, he did a 3-part series. And we're just going to watch the first one. It's 9 minutes long, but it shows some really, really amazing video here. And you're going to see all the... I'll just let it do it, because I was watching it earlier and I was like, you know what? I don't want to ruin this. I want to see it for the end of it for the first time, you know, live with you guys. Yeah, so Cammie found this. Thank you so much, Cammie. I was looking for a video like this. So you are amazing. Thank you. And I'll make it nice and big for you all out there. Oh, it already is nice and big. Okay. And here we go.
The film you are about to see has no characters, It has no people. It is a film to describe to you and explain visually the effect of cymatic frequencies on texture, structure, water, oil. If you spare a little of your imagination as you watch this film as it runs, you will see many things that answer many questions. You will see living forms, living amoeba, almost animal-like creatures. You will see continents being formed, the earth itself coming into existence, explosions, eruptions, atomic explosions and bombs. You can see all this and watch it before your eyes. But everything owes its existence solely and completely to sound. Sound is the factor which holds it together. Sound is the basis of form and shape. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. We are told that this is how the worlds began and how creation took shape. If we put that into the modern idiom and say that into the great voids of space came a sound and matter took shape. Please watch carefully.
We can also use different shaped plate. Here we have a triangular plate with a crystal attached to its underside and produce a sonorous fit. We change to a higher note and see a rather more complicated figure.
Anybody else see turtle?
Yeah, I saw a turtle.
Yep, that's what I thought when I watched it earlier.
This more
You see right
figure,
here.
likewise on a steel plate, is also produced by vibration. The exciting crystal is attached to the upper corner of the plate.
This makes me really concerned about
lycopodium.
background noises and how they affect you.
The fields and takes up circular shape.
Excellent, Kyle. I was also going that way because again we react all of this.
Material has its own special way of behaving.
We're just constantly around like the noise of the air conditioner and all kinds of machines. It's hard to go outside and find quiet.
I don't know if I've ever heard actual quiet without, because that's just the noises you can hear. Imagine the noises you don't hear.
I've heard that when people experience like absolute quiet for an extended period of time or something like that, or even not like too long of it, it like drives people insane.
I think they say the longest anybody's done it was like 45 minutes. About 10 minutes, you start freaking out because you're hearing your body, the noises that your body makes, because you're not hearing any outside noise around interfering with it, and you actually just hear all this weird stuff going on inside you. And yeah, people get weirded out.
That'd be something else to experience.
Yeah, I kind of want to try it.
Yeah, it really does like make you wonder about it and like wanting to test your boundaries. Okay, I just did it 5 minutes. Okay, now I'm gonna go push it farther.
Yeah, if you notice that the higher the frequency, the smaller the patterns get, the more like perfect they get, it seems. Just like crystals. They say crystals are the highest vibrating things here when it comes to like a resonant frequency of a matter. Crystals are the closest thing to perfect that we found so far.
still thinking about Tesla and his whole, just like, where did he get all that information from crystals? Just that one video we did not too long ago, just about the crystalline knowledge. Man, that one blew my mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of information in crystals.
Lycopodium alone, a sonorous figure, transition to a mobile flowing phase,
It melted.
and back again to the figure. The sonorous figures represent stationary waves, but now we can also observe moving waves. Here, the sand is flowing in a current.
Watch out, Karen. I think someone's going to say melted earth somewhere around here.
I
Except
see
it's not
Hebrew.
melted.
I see Hebrew letters in there.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I see that. It's got some kind of, yeah, wow. Oh my goodness.
We were getting
Arabic
letters.
too.
Yeah, we were getting letters to form, playing with the circular plate with an upturned edge. It was like a pizza tray. It's really neat when you play with that one. You can get it to do it. It makes stuff patterns like this. Like I wonder if they did it for a certain amount of time, and you just keep pouring sand on it, and it makes your pattern. And you have a certain area, and you say, okay, this is this sounds symbol. If it's not a letter, it's that sound. It's actual symbol
That's
of that
wild.
sound.
It's giving me tingles. Just, yeah.
Yeah, there's a huge, it goes from ancient Hebrew to Paleo Hebrew, and there's not a whole lot of difference. It still looks kind of picturesque. Like ancient Hebrew is real picturesque, kind of like Egyptian hieroglyphs.
Yeah.
And then Paleo is still kind of like hieroglyphs, but they're a little more stick figure and less drawing. It kind of straightens out the edges and takes out all the extras and stuff like that. And then it goes just totally different when it goes to modern Hebrew, which is when you put the sound and collapse the waveform, it actually looks like that. It pops up on the screen. You go Aleph, and it makes the symbol of Aleph for the Hebrew alphabet. It's amazing. It's like, how did they know that?
I'm also thinking about the human brain itself and about how it kind of reminds me of all the squiggles in the human brain.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting how it's right between our ears. You know what I mean? It's so connected with not just with humans, but so many animals, like connection between the brain and our ears, like right between the two. And yeah, although apparently our stomach is like a second brain or something, and there's a lot of similarities between that too, but that's kind of far away from your ears. So that's a whole other question. But yeah, just the one, yeah, there's something here.
Here, the sand is flowing in a current.
And it is a very old recording, folks. That's why it's a 240.
It almost looks
When the
like those
wavelengths
videos
are
of
short,
like the blood
these
going
currents
through the
produce
veins.
a rotary
Yeah.
effect.
Oh yeah.
Areas become defined.
Now,
in
see,
which
I'm seeing
particles
stuff like
are
this.
actually rotating.
Yeah, this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting in my. It's just amazing.
It's like a tornado or hurricane.
Mm-hmm. And if you do it in really low frequencies, it does it real slow, so you can see it a lot better.
Yeah, that is
Doesn't that
wild.
look kind of like the sky?
Makes you want to try it out with water or something like that. Just try to find out how you could get water to just swirl.
Are the stars just a bunch of
Now we
antinodes?
produce two notes with frequencies
Yeah.
which are so related as to cause a beat. The note seems to throb, and by using the method we have chosen, this phenomenon of beat or interference can be rendered visible. The figure sways to and fro. The figure pulsates.
Dave,
Wow.
is that a minute, Zach?
Yep.
Before we get too much further, I want to let you know I just dropped into the show chat because I've got multiple computers running, not this show, but the actual main chat with everybody in it. A link that's called, I believe, the meeting the meeting what that is Stanton, and we were talking about if anyone was interested in seeing the work behind the oscilloscope and creating the letters, it collapsing the sine wave and doing that. That is Stanton, and I dropped a link to like the video starting that in case anybody wanted to see, or in case you wanted to mark it in the show notes. And Dan Winter also covers a lot of that in his work. And what you're doing here is fascinating too, but I did want to drop that for anybody interested.
Yeah, we'll check that out right after this.
So what material exactly are we looking at? Because this doesn't quite look like sand. Like I'm wondering how it's glowing and stuff.
Well, it said they were using 2 different wave patterns. I'm not sure what it's on.
Like what kind of film? What kind of liquid?
It looks like a
lava
red
lamp or something.
plate. No, that's just sand on it. It looks like a liquid, but it's not. That's the neatest part about it. That's just the sand moving on the plate.
Just shining a bright light through it, and so is that like
No, not a light. It's vibrating the plate.
So the sand is glowing?
No, it's wisping up, Kyle. It's wisping up, and we have things on it. So think of sand as it vibrates. It kind of makes a little cloud with the dust around it. So you're picking up as it's getting vibrated. It's making a little dust thing, and you see the little particles going back and forth.
So what is the white and what is the red?
So the white is the sand.
Okay.
And the red is probably a black plate in the quality of the camera, angle, and that it could be a red plate, but it could very well just be a black plate.
Yeah, remember this is from like the 50s, recorded from the 50s.
So
That's why you're seeing the line through here and all that stuff. This is probably taken off of film.
Okay.
But yeah, this is all just sand on a plate. And these are your nodes right here. And when and he's playing 2 different frequencies back and forth. So it looks like it's moving, like it's waving. That's how he's doing that.
Exactly, like the setup of this kind of stuff and how they're doing it. Like that's something you don't see enough videos of, is watching them. Okay, this is how I'm going to do it. And the step-by-step instructions, kind of like what you did last week, where you showed exactly how to build your flame emitter. I don't remember what it's called, but you went through the step-by-step instructions on how to do that. But we're not quite seeing those instructions here, though I understand there's a lot to it and it's not exactly.
No, it's real simple. Yeah, like I said earlier, for mine here, let me turn it back.
I think that's my biggest criticism of so many different like peer-reviewed papers is they're kind of like this, and they just kind of show you the results, but don't show you how they got the results.
Yeah, let me well, here, let's finish this first, because I think this one doesn't show either. That one just shows some of the cymatic patterns. So yeah, that's just sand.
That's cool.
And one wants to draw it one way. It's just 2 different frequencies, and he's bouncing them back and forth. See, he's slowing it down now. And then he speeds it up and they go faster. So it's just, when he changes it, the sand is being drawn one way and the other frequency wants to draw it back the other way. So he gets it in the middle and just bounces it around.
We are exciting fluids.
Now here's
this one looks like
fluids.
weather patterns for sure.
A layer of turpentine forms a regular lattice work.
That's turpentine on a plate. Look at the lattice that forms.
That's so wild. Just
Wow.
That's interesting right there. That kind
In
of makes me think
vibrating
about
crystalline,
crystals
Yeah.
forming a regular lattice structure.
Mm-hmm.
we see continuous waves which form the queerest figures. And yet, the extraordinary things we see here are simply and solely the effect of vibration.
It's like a snake or something.
That's totally a spine. I mean,
Yeah. It's like, why is the light suddenly disappearing and where does it go?
Now it's in. He's doing that. He's doing stuff with liquid. I'm not sure how he's lighting it up. The top part.
It could just be just the same way that the other guy was doing the visualizer, where you've got a light shining down on top of the liquid, and then you have the camera set at an angle to look at the way that the light is
Yeah.
reflecting off the liquid.
Yeah.
So basically, the camera is looking at the light reflection on the liquid as it's being put through different frequencies.
That is
Here
wild.
is a sonorous figure shown in a fluid. There are some wave fields where there was nothing before.
Like
Where
stars.
there was previously sound, now there is nothing to be seen. The dynamic phase has become the static phase. Wave fields which make the vibratory process in the plate indirectly visible. Here again, interference can be demonstrated. All these wave fields pulsate. Interference becomes visible.
Whoa. Okay, yeah, that's I'm definitely thinking about stars there, and just the way the circle was, it got me thinking a lot about because everyone asks a lot of questions about like the Southern Cross and stuff like that, and how can we see the same stars in different locations around the world, kind of a thing.
Kyle, you're university trained. You should be thinking about how fast these each need to be rotating in order for us to be pulsing in them, seeing them like that. I mean, these things have got to be
Yeah,
traveling.
these are high frequencies right here. You can hear it in the tone.
Uh-huh.
That would make sense. Oh. Was that it? Oh.
But yeah, there is some weird connection with sound and stars.
Oh. Okay, we might even. This one is just. I'm getting an echo. Okay. Who is this? This is BR. Oh, big channel. Fair use. Yeah, this is. I'm just gonna skip through this real quick. This is one of those that you can. I don't know if you bought this or not, but you see, Kyle, it's bolted down right here. It's just a metal plate, and he's got probably a shaker that just shakes things, a rod up and down at a certain frequency. You can also do this with a speaker system. That's what I used. I used a speaker, and then I took a hemispherical plastic dome thing and hot glued it onto it. And then there's a bolt sticking up out of the top of that. And I just secured a bunch of nuts onto the bolt and then secure the plate onto that right on top of the speaker. And that's all you have to do. And then you run a frequency generator through that speaker. Like I said, you can get it right off your phone and it'll make these shapes right here.
Yeah, I really like seeing the big picture like this.
Okay, I did one of these earlier. What was this? Did he say what frequency that was? I saw this one earlier playing around.
Was that a medical thing I heard about using sound to do some kind of operations or something?
There's a thing called the Rife machine, and that's a whole new show all in itself.
Yeah.
We actually have one. I've used it on people. I've used it on myself. Yeah, it's very interesting. Very interesting. But yeah, all the different patterns you can see here. As you can see, there's not much limitations to what the creator can create and have
Oh yeah,
matter form
that is
into.
fascinating.
There's so many different shapes. And these are just the frequencies that we can create. All these machines have their limits. You know, just because they say 1 hertz is the lowest, it's the lowest that we put a 1 on, and it can go way
Oh,
lower.
yeah, it definitely makes you want to just play with it because there's so many places you can take this. Like right now, from what I understand, this is just taking one note. Okay, one note on a keyboard. Now I'm just thinking about like different kind of music things, like you did last week, and how you can get multiple notes at the same time. Okay, this is what a chord looks like.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that video right there. Now this one's pretty neat. This one's in water. So I think he just put a speaker thing over some water. This is sound images. This is pretty neat right here. 528 hertz.
Oh, whoa. That's cool. Dang.
Wow. It looks alive, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I think it
Looks like-
captures the title of the show perfectly. The sound of music, and there's your allies and your patterns and that all in there. That's fabulous.
It looks CGI. Yeah, like out of a sci-fi movie or something, I'm telling you.
Wow.
But it's showing you the sound of music and the effect that music can have on you. And again, music that
Right click
resonates
on.
and harmonizes well is you can listen to music and feel really good and listen to music and feel like awful. And I think this explains a lot of it, the sound of music and
Gets me thinking about
like that.
Gets me thinking about the sound bath at the last Toober Fest.
Well, speaking of that, check this out right here. This is a guy playing with the bowls and showing the patterns, the different patterns it's going to make.
Tibetan singing bowls are amazing.
Tremendous health.
Those are crystal bowls right there.
Yeah.
Crystal bowls are
Crystal
mucho
singing bowls,
dinero.
440 hertz and 432 hertz. And Sun Gong.
And there's just something different when you're actually in the room with it, experiencing it in person versus on a phone or wherever you're at, just on a computer.
Mm-hmm.
It vibrates the whole room.
You guys want to watch this whole thing? Should we or should I just jump through it? Should we let?
I don't know. How long does he take to get to the point?
Not too long. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. He gets into it pretty quick, like 35 seconds to do his little spiel. Well, maybe a little bit longer. Yeah, it's like 2 minutes. Okay, we'll let him say hi.
This health. Today, I'm going to demonstrate for you how your cells and how your body responds to the vibrations and sounds of crystal singing bowls and gong. And I'm also going to show you the difference between a bowl which is tuned in 432 hertz and a bowl which is tuned to 440 hertz. And there's a whole heap of stuff about that on the internet, but I've never really seen anyone actually mic up an acoustic instrument which is tuned to the two different frequencies. So I think this is going to be pretty new. Might be a really big revelation. So how we're going to demonstrate all this is by using this device here. So what you can see is a black plate, and on top is some sand. I'm going to add a little bit more sand immediately now before I forget. So we've got a random, nice even supply of sand, I think, on the top of here. So underneath this is a speaker. So as the speaker sounds and vibrates, it will vibrate this plate and it will make the sand on top dance, and it will form patterns. So if there's a dissonant sound, it's going to look a bit messy. If there's a more harmonious sound, it's going to look like a pretty shape. And that's how your cells are responding. Your shell is, as your body receives sound, it's going to move and morph in the same way that the sand will. So to my left are some crystal singing bowls. If you've never seen these before, they look like Tupperware. I promise I didn't get them from my mum's house. This is a crystal singing bowl which is tuned to the note A, and it's tuned in a frequency of 432 hertz. Okay.
Makes me want to try this.
Activate the bowl.
See this experiment with different shapes of speakers, because I kind of wonder about that, about having a circular speaker versus a square speaker, and whatnot and so forth.
Yeah, I don't know much about speakers, so I can't really. I'm not sure.
Because I wonder if that has a factor into this, because I'm thinking about like having a circular, having more of a round vibration compared to a square speaker.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they have the difference in the square and the round plates as well. So yeah, I mean, yeah.
If that even just has a circular speaker under it, I kind of wonder how that would affect it compared to the square.
I have to think about it.
And we're going to see what patterns emerge on the plate. So here we go.
I was in the circle there, right in the center, and the square. So, yeah.
Okay, so obviously, if I keep playing, these shapes are going to become more and more obvious and more symmetrical. I think that's pretty obvious. And there's a whole heap of stuff on the internet that shows you, different frequencies and how these plates respond. But as I said, I've never really seen anyone actually do it with instruments before. So I thought this might be interesting. And of equal interest,
he's got some of
I've
those.
now just changed the bowl. This is an F bowl. So this is a bowl which is tuned to the note F. It's also in 432 hertz. So this is the supposedly very harmonious frequency, which I think you're going to see it is.
I'm just wondering about the shape of the box itself, and how it's affecting the circle.
Line.
Mhm.
Let's see.
We have Gary in the chat. And this one is look like our church windows. Exactly.
Yeah.
In the chat.
Church windows.
All of
Yeah.
our geometry. We will get there.
Yeah, they definitely had some knowledge. I guess they were kind of trying to share it almost in the windows, but yeah, for those who were seeking it. Oh wow! This is like the Celtic cross circle with a.
So again, we're seeing a lovely symmetrical pattern beginning to emerge. We're getting a lovely little eye in the middle and some nice little corners emerging, and a lovely little wave around the side, just framing that. So, I think that looks really nice, and I think you would agree with me that that's actually quite also a harmonious instrument to listen to. But let's mix it up again. Add a little bit more sand. Each time we do this, there's a little bit more sand sort of dances off and lands on the table. So here we go again. So this is now an F note. It's going to sound a semitone higher. It's tuned to 440 hertz. And if we believe all the stuff that we see, a lot of the stuff that we see on the internet, You know, you might think that this isn't going to look very good. Let's find out what it does.
Do you want to pause?
Yeah,
Do you want to pause him a minute?
I'm seeing the same pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And we have Crumb popping out there, and I have to agree with Crumb on this one because we were talking about how the different plates, the different materials, and that. No. This is nonsense. You don't understand equal temperament 432 one note, not all. You can't fix all notes to look pretty with equal temperament. In other words, yeah, I don't think that. I think he's saying the same thing I am. If you're saying something different, tell me. But I do know that again, you get some as you vary the medium you're putting it on and the grains of sand, and again, the way that things interact with each other, you're going to get some variance. It's not that pretty of a line that like that. And most of nature, most of sound is messy. It's catching that sweet note.
I'm still thinking that the speaker underneath it, if it's a round speaker, it might have it might be responsible for creating the inner circle, especially if the black surface is touching the speaker. Because if it's touching the speaker, then perhaps it's causing it to vibrate a little less in that area. And so where there's less vibration, that's where the sand congregates, right?
Yes.
And so that's kind of the repeating pattern I'm seeing, is that circle right there with every different note he's played so far. The circle staying in the same spot.
Well, yeah, but that's because they're all on the same frequency. It's between 432 and 440. So the range is only 8 hertz. So you're not going to see a big difference in pattern. It's all going to look generally the same when you stay within that same range right there.
You two are talking about something totally different. And Kyle, no, that's not the speaker being round or it touching in that case, because we have pulled it apart and had it again where it's not touching. It's just the sound hitting. I could see if you're thinking that it's laying right on top of the speaker, but that's usually not how it's constructed.
Okay, yeah, because that would make a difference for me, I think, when it comes to understanding it.
You'll have to see us and put it together, and even see like the bigger video that Zach's got up on the channel where you see how they're constructed, because it is confusing not seeing the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even it's kind of like a trampoline, and about how you get a lot more up and down in the middle of the trampoline, and then on the outside there's a lot less up and down. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I haven't seen that one.
Oh, no. Okay. If you jump on a trampoline and you're close to the springs, there's not as much give. And so
yeah.
You don't drop as much as you do in the center of the trampoline.
Mm-hmm.
In the center of the trampoline, there's a lot of drop. And so I'm kind of thinking about that when it comes to vibrations. You've got this whole frame here, and that frame represents the edges of a trampoline, where there's going to be a lot less peaks and troughs. The distance between the two.
Well, the trampoline edges would be like right here. They would be, this is where all the sand is going to gather. This is where there's no vibration in this pattern and in this circle right here. So yeah, right here would be a good, representation. It's circular. This would be the trampoline edge right here. So this is where all the motion's happening in the center right here. But then there's also another trampoline out here.
Zach, he was wondering, and his thing was, he actually thought it was sitting right on top of that can. And no, because you're going to see that
held up by
circle. You're going to see it go little, big, all kinds of different sizes. It's not going to.
Yeah, he's just staying within the same frequency range, because that's a very small range from 432 to 440. So the pattern in any note he brings out, it's going to look like that. If he has it in 432 or 440, that's the shape that frequency creates, not so much the musical note.
I'm talking about the frame of the surface. You get the big yellow frame around the black surface, and that yellow frame is acting like the edge of a trampoline.
I don't know if that's even connected. See, you can't make assumption. No, I don't.
That's what I mean, is you're having different ones like that. Have him show other patterns that don't look.
Yeah.
don't
No,
look like
this
the
thing is just shaking. That's probably just to try to catch the sand. You can
What do
see
you think?
there's a little groove right through here. I don't know if I can zoom in on. No, I can't. It'll
He's
just
not
show
talking
that.
about that either. He's talking about the underneath and what the speaker would be that it was laying on. Like, is it laying right on
I
that?
was talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Were
I
you
was
talking
wondering
about
about
the
that
print
too.
itself?
I brought that up with the circle. Like, why am I seeing
Ye-
a circle here
Yeah.
a lot of times? And so, yeah, it's just trying to tear it apart in my mind and just trying to think about, okay, like, how is this set up? And
This
Well,
is
go
all
ahead.
being vibrated from the center. There is a rod sticking up. This one is just not homemade like I do and other people, where they drill a hole through and just screw it down. I'm sure it's attached some other way, a lot more intricately, so it looks pretty, but it is vibrating from the center. There's a rod coming up, and that rod is shaking the plate, and it's creating all the patterns. That's
okay.
how this is. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a Chladni plate. That's what. That's how it works. Or you can vibrate it from the edge or from different parts of it,
I
and
wonder
it'll
if that
change the
changes
Oh,
pattern.
along the edge.
Yeah,
There.
that's what we were watching in the earlier one at the beginning of the video. He was saying, depending on where you connect it, it'll change the pattern.
Oh,
And
okay. Yeah.
yeah.
That was kind of what I was thinking about here. Just thinking about different factors that can go into this.
Okay, and then we're gonna go to the gong. This is pretty cool. Let's
Gong. Let's see what it does on the plate.
That is cool. That's really cool.
now you know why they had gongs and stuff like that. Wow.
Oh, wow.
Looks like it's breathing.
I'm just imagining you throw a rock into a pool and you get like this weird ripple effect.
So, I think you will agree with me. I'm a little bit surprised, to be honest. I was expecting to see a lot of chaos. Even though it has a fundamental note, I thought if I just played one note, maybe I'd get a nice pattern. But as you can see, what's emerged on the plate, different, despite how I played it, when I played it fast, when I played it a little bit slow, a little bit harder, a little bit softer, we saw different patterns emerge on the plate. So what I infer from that is that the sounds from this gong, have a tremendously positive effect on the body. And despite what I originally thought, I think it looks fantastic what we see on the plate there. And I think if we had more sand, we'd see more clear shapes. And and I think it's absolutely fantastic. So I really hope you've enjoyed this demonstration today. Never seen anyone do this before, so I hope you've seen something new as well. So,
Yeah, that was pretty neat. Tremendous health. TREEMENDUS health. Yeah, that was pretty neat.
Exactly how it affects your health, I don't know. But yeah, because I feel like when you get into experimenting, you can do a lot of harm and you can do a lot of good. It kind of goes both ways. And it's
Yeah, that's why you
trying
always
to do good, I think it is tougher than than messing things up. It's really easy to hurt yourself and really difficult to fix yourself, I guess you could say. Trying to find the right method. Trying to cure the cold, I guess you could say. Trying to find just the right stuff that did it. You know what I mean?
We have someone in the chat saying, wonder what a tambourine would create. Do we have a way to set the live instruments and hook them up to the cymatics or the things, or how
Yes, we
do that?
do. We're going to be able to do all this kind of stuff at Toober Fest. I might be doing some members live. I don't have a tambourine.
I
but
don't
some
have
of the membership live streams, and they'll stay up on the membership thing. I'm thinking of doing. Now it's not going to be at any certain time, so I apologize, but it's going to be when I get to play, or because I'm not going to do it all day. Because sometimes I play, you know, my play sessions get kind of long sometimes. I'll be sitting out there in the garage just dripping sweat playing for hours. And I don't want to go live. But when I find something new, I might go live and show you guys for like a half hour, 45 minutes, something like that. We wanted to do some more things for the members and stuff like that. But I also wanted to show you how I find this stuff. It's just sitting there, you know, fiddling, turning knobs, playing with stuff. Yeah, trying
That's
things
how the
out.
best science is done. It's whatever kind of stimulates the mind and kind of gets it going, grabs your curiosity.
Yeah, it really is. That's the best way to, I think, to learn is to get your hands on this kind of stuff and just play with it.
Big kid tinker toys, right?
Yeah, they get more expensive. The toys get more expensive, but you see neater and neater stuff.
Yeah, for sure. But I
So
think
here is, now this is one we put out on the members only a few days ago. I'll make it available. Maybe we're gonna leave it for a week at least. So let's see. So I picked that one. We don't need the audio and hear me talking. But yeah, this is my plate. This is me at home playing around. Real fine sand. I got better sand now. And yeah, it's neat. All kinds of colors. We went to Hobby Lobby, and that place is just like heaven for
I was
tinkerers.
at Hobby Lobby the other day too.
Yeah, I really
I got
love
some more goodies for
that
some
place.
stuff.
It's like, oh, I could do this with that, and we can do this test with that, and we can build one of those with that. Yeah, I could be in there for hours. Get out of there.
Yes, in case anybody was wondering where I was on my birthday, Hobby Lobby was it? I got balls. I got styrofoam balls and stuff for
That's
they
hilarious.
have stuff there. They have stuff.
I just bought some styrofoam stuff there too. I bought a styrofoam like half.
Did you see the
dome.
half? Oh, we were like going back and forth on those ones.
Yeah, I bought a half dome.
Oh, we almost
styrofoam balls are expensive. It's crazy how expensive those things can get sometimes. Just think about like the arts and crafts stores that you go to, and what you feel like this thing should be like dirt cheap, like a packing peanut or something like that. No.
Yeah, okay, so here you go, Kyle. There's the speaker right there. Okay. And it's pointing straight up. And in the center of it, I have a little plastic hemisphere. It's a half, just clear plate, like an Easter egg.
Mhm.
You know that you get at Easter, you pop them open, there's candy inside and those things. It's kind of like that, but it's just a perfect half dome. And then I drilled a hole through the center of it and put a nut or a bolt up there. And then I screwed nuts down onto it so it was firm on that. And then I took that and I just set it on the center of the speaker and hot glued it to the speaker.
Okay, so is this touching the half dome underneath it, or is it just on the nut itself? And
Just
that's
on the
only
nut. That's the only part that it touches. Yeah.
Okay.
That's how all the plates are set up. Now the edges, like there's nothing touching the edges. Like that one plate where it showed the wood, I don't think the wood was touching that plate at all at the edges. I think that was just maybe to catch sand or something like that. But if you looked real close, you could see a gap going all the way around. It really wasn't. Yeah, you don't want to mess with the vibration, because as soon as I put my hand on the plate, the sand stops moving. As soon as I grab a hold of it or like touch it, it'll affect it. And you don't want to do that. You want to see the pattern that it's making.
Okay, so it's a little different than a trampoline then. So
yeah.
So Kyle, if you look at my hand on the screen, do you see my hand on the screen, Kyle, on the show one?
Here, let me.
Oops. Okay, if you see that on there, and do that, pretty much think about the bottom of this sitting on the speaker. This sitting on the speaker can, the bottom part of it sitting on here, a bolt running through it, because this is glass, but his is an empty plastic one. Bolt going up there, and then the speaker, and then the plate going on that bolt going up from there. So the speaker is, again, it's not the big round thing of it or that. Again, there's a buffer in there between even going up.
It's kind of like a symbol.
Yeah, kind of like a symbol, but it doesn't shake around and move. It's like held firm.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to play this. Oh, I'll just let it play here.
There is no such thing as a particle of light. Hercules, correct, and I can prove it. There's particles of sand, but not particles of light.
So yeah, I don't know. I'll see if I can't catch this better with a from a different angle. But when it was at 35 hertz right here, I could see the plate wobbling like dramatically. But the sand, no matter where I put it on the plate, didn't move at all. It didn't know that the plate underneath it, you know, it wasn't showing any signs that it even knew it was there. Which makes you wonder, is our Earth that's supposedly resonating at 35 hertz, is it moving this much underneath us? It's crazy when you think about it, but would we even know? If we were standing on this sand, would we even know that the ground underneath it is moving? It doesn't look like it. And then right there, 37.
Do you see the pretty patterns, Kyle, that you were looking at and wondering how it was foggy, but you see the little particles, and if you have a little bit of a finer sand, it will look foggy and get that effect.
That's
So
cool.
this is, again, just sand, and when you stop vibrating, they're just little particles of sand.
It gets me thinking about the electrostatic demonstrations I was viewing before, where you take a balloon next to sand, and all of a sudden, like the sand starts like jumping like crazy.
Mm-hmm. A little bit different. Yeah, you can kind of see it.
But it does.
It's coming up right through here.
Mm-hmm.
And then it falls this way, and it's falling down this way.
It also looks like when you saw the time lapse of like Doppler weather radar and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It does make me think about the resonance of electrostatics and like the connection between the two.
And until you get into resonance and there, you don't see the pretty patterns. You see chaos theory. You see mountains and things like that. It's when you hit the perfection. It's almost like looking at crystals and the way they grow. And Karen will be the first one again to explain to you. Again, you see granite. You see the mixed stuff all over your bedrock. You know, stuff all over the place, and it's these special pockets when the conditions were just right, the temperatures, the ingredients, everything is there to have these pockets of like perfect crystals, because everything was just there for them to go in perfection. It's very much the same with the frequencies and vibrations. You are surrounded by chaos, and just every now and then you get it just right into perfection, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, you can see right here, the edge of the plate is vibrating a lot. And it stops vibrating about right here. You can see the termination line starting to form here.
Yeah.
And it's real neat.
Vibration is a wave, and electricity is a wave, right? So what's the connection here?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's all frequencies.
Yeah.
They're all, I mean, you have your transverse and your longitudinal waves. Your longitudinal are like your sounder that you feel, like again, doing water, and you see that. You'll see the medium perturbing. One is a
Electrostatics is different though. Electrostatics is scalar, which is totally different. It's not
different, yeah.
Yeah, it's a totally different type of wave.
When you say scalar, I'm thinking like non-vector.
Yeah, no, we'll get into that one. That's a totally different show.
Okay.
Well, you could, because we can get really, cow questions.
Yeah.
We go to
There's so many places this can go. It's so loose-ended, but that's kind of the stimulation. That's the fun of it. Is like how many places you can take this.
Oh yeah. Look at those lines it's forming. Now these are low frequencies I'm playing with, so everything happens a lot slower. You can see it starting to form here. It's starting to build like that circular pattern. Oh, you can see it right here. See that? The edge wobbling?
Mm-hmm.
With this case, I think it would be like the inverse of the trampoline, where the farther away you get from the center, the more give you're going to get.
this one, watching him with video is, again, he's not playing him live, but you're watching him and it's happening in front of him. He's mesmerized because you can actually see little mountains and that, like creating themselves and building up. And places start to, again, very slowly, but quickly, slowly and quickly at the same time, depending on how you look at it. This scales. You have a lot of vibration. It goes a lot further, but him just watching again, formation and that happening. That again wasn't your perfect outside patterns, but where you'll get your conglomerates and peaks, valleys, and mountains, and again a fun look. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah, there's corners on that. They're going to have the most amount of up and down.
I'm learning the volume.
I can't hear anything on the video.
Oh, I'm sorry. You guys aren't hearing the...
No.
Here we go. I'll go back to right about here.
It doesn't really jump to it so fast. When we get to the higher vibrations, you'll see the pattern happen a lot quicker, which would be terrifying in reality. Like, say this was the shape, the size of the Earth, 24,000 miles across. This would be traumatic.
That's kind of how I describe it when I describe like the beginning with the slurry, the saturated slurry, the void, the formless deep, as they call it in scripture, right? The formless deep, and then the creator says, "Let there be light," or just starts speaking matter to start coming into existence. And I'm like, just imagine that on the world scale, it'd be like violent and
Huge, yeah.
just huge things appearing out of the formless deep, mountains appearing out of the deep, the pillars growing from the deep,
Miles
and then
high.
right,
Just...
miles high, and then falling, possibly crashing, creating giant cataclysmic piezoelectric reactions, and you never know. It would be horrifying.
Yeah.
To somebody of
our size. Well, yeah. If this were the Earth right here, I think this is 12 inches across. A human hair, the width of it would be about 7 miles, I think, 6 miles, something like that. So
My
yeah,
daughter has a crystal growing kit, and I'm just trying to think about a way I could vibrate the water at a certain frequency for a long enough time to see how vibrating the water affects the growth rate of crystals and the shape of the crystals as they grow. Because I've
Mm-hmm.
never quite seen that before. It's like this is a normal crystal growth and what that looks like, and this is what happens when you grow a crystal in water that's vibrating at the rate of E or whatever.
Well, if you listen to Marcel Vogel, which we haven't talked about any of that because this is mostly about cymatics. Marcel Vogel is all about crystals, and he talks about how he did experiments with growing crystals, and he discovered that if he applies the perfect frequency to it, he can get an absolutely perfect crystal to start growing. So, and these crystals, they do have very specific frequencies, and so it is, entirely makes sense that the frequency, maybe the frequency of a certain part of the earth is what is generating these different pockets, down around different localities, right? It's because the particular frequency or vibration or whatever of that part of the earth is prone to produce XYZ type of crystal, which is why different types of crystals and different areas, they'll look at the geology. Oh, well, this area has this type of geology, which is known for producing these type of crystals. And yeah, all could definitely be directly related to frequency and vibration of the earth.
That would be interesting to just go and like study the different vibrations of the earth in different locations, and doing exactly the study that you're talking about here. These minerals are around here, and this is the vibration of the earth around here compared to way over there.
I think it's interesting and brilliant, and I think that they intentionally dissuade, if you think what they do in science and at universities, to take this into new age, like, ooh, the vibrations, good vibrations, and they make crystals sound so woo-woo, and just because they're pretty and that, but again, all of the highest tech is made with crystals. It's all based about it, but they do everything to the public to sell it as complete nonsense. And so I think it's funny that, again, what you're talking about in the science is to do it and approach it that way is they've sold it out as being new age and not credible. So you'd think there would be a whole bunch of that everybody would look at it because it's reality. You would look at it in that type of a scope. It's reality. It's how these are putting out, how it's affecting you and what's around you. You hear Sedona and the vortexes, and again, how people feel better in certain areas and not better in certain areas. And again, the vibration of the area. I think it's a brilliant thing to do, to look into. And I like the idea of testing again the vibration in the crystals. I think that's great for your daughter. How old is she?
She's like 10.
And is she into rocks, or does she have to do this for school?
She's into that.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, it's been pretty fun, and I think there's so many questions I've got just kind of boiling up inside me. Of one of these days, I really need to go and just do a field trip and go interview the people over at the Utah Seismology Department out in Salt Lake. It's kind of a trip for me. But
you live in a good area for that.
Yeah, there's
really great area for that.
Seismology Department. I've got so many questions for them, especially when it comes to the water table and how the water table affects like P waves and S waves and stuff like that.
All right, let's finish this one out, and then we're probably going to be wrapping it up here.
Plate moving, but none of the sand is moving now. You can actually physically see the plate moving and none of the sand anywhere. I can move it over. None of it moves. It's when it hits that perfect frequency.
A resonant frequency.
And you start seeing crazy stuff happen. I don't have it set up to catch the sand all the way around the edges, so I'm not going to push it too far. But this kind of stuff should make those big, beautiful patterns. Wow, it feels wild. Let's go to 432. Whoa, look at that circle. Okay, I gotta turn it up, and you start getting movement on 432. Yeah, I don't want to blow any more speakers. I hear a lot of people blow speakers doing this kind of stuff, so I'm doing my best.
Yeah, I think this thing had all kinds of electronics down inside of it. I kind of took it apart a little bit, as I like to do. I take a lot of stuff apart just to see what's inside, especially if it's a big case. And yeah, it had a circuit board down in there and a couple other things. I think this might have some kind of protection, because I did turn it up too loud at one point and I did hear a click. I didn't see any of this magical smoke come out of the wires though. That's when you know you have a real problem. So I didn't smell anything. There was no smoke. And I don't know if it was resetting itself or what, and it took maybe like a couple minutes. Because I checked it right away and it was making no noise. I was like, oh damn, there goes another speaker. But it wasn't. Same speaker. I unhooked it, hooked it back up a few minutes later, and it took right off again. So I'm hoping this has some kind of, you can't blow me up thing inside of it.
Maybe we should go make some shopping trips to like the Goodwill or something and see if we can find some old speakers or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we got a lot of sand in all different colors too.
Let's find some stuff we
Hobby
can
Lobby has
blow
got
up.
Hobby Lobby has got good sand, multiple colors of sand, things to blow up. I like blowing up things. I like lighting things on fire. I like having the Rubens tube next to the cymatics and showing again your nodes on it and your arrays, and again so cool on how it all works in nature. And we copy all of the patterns. They're all there.
Yep, everything was already there, and we just rip it off.
Yeah, I love this. I'm going to watch this a few times. I want to make this right here. I'm thinking of filling a tray up with water and sand and trying to create continents and see what I can come up with. We'll see. I got some time before Toober Fest.
This looks
I
like
don't
some
know
kind of
if
music
that'll
video
work the
intro or
same.
something like James Bond.
What would be cool though is if you get some type of liquid or even like an oil, and then put some multicolored LED lights so you get the different colors.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll have to come up with something.
Would be cool too is if we got one of those things with the ferrofluid in it where you get that to do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We know what we're talking about. So messy, but then we're going to be outside now, aren't we? Stuff that we would never, ever consider doing inside, and ferrofluid is one of those things. Ooh, pretty.
Alrighty, folks.
Put the ferrofluid in a magnet with the speaker magnets and see what that's making one messy.
Yeah, you can do that.
All right, we're
I'm going to
calling
stand
that a
away
show.
when that happens. Yes. Thank you all for joining us. Sound, frequency, and vibration. According to a lot of old books, not just the Bible, but that's how the Creator does it. Not just did it. It wasn't just created, but it is ever being created. These frequencies haven't stopped. So the book isn't finished yet. Hasn't been, fully written. The Creator is still creating. Be thankful.
3 principles are energy, frequency, and what was the third one, Karen?
vibration.
Isn't that kind of the same thing as frequency, though?
No, because things
Vibration?
vibrate differently at different frequencies, you know.
I guess there's speed. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that's kind of what I was talking about. The movement of it and the speed, the rate at which it does that. I don't know.
So yeah, that's going to do it for the show. Thank you all for joining us. Come back this Sunday if you want tickets for Flat Toober Fest. If you'd like to come play with this stuff yourself, you're more than welcome to come play with Cammy and I's toys. You can go down to the link in the description, flatearthfestivals.com. All the information is available there. Yeah, thank you all for joining us. This is in the GLOBEBUSTERS Tech Crew. Remember, be good to each other. Don't lie to each other. Open your mind because there's truth inside. Peace out, everyone.
Peace.